Yo, Jay from Will's VG Addiction here. We got ourselves another fine example of some eBay trash that really isn't trash. Got a copy of Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the N64 here. Got our cart loaded up in the console here. Loads up just fine, right? Let's see, do we have any sound? I don't hear any sound. We get to the Mortal Kombat start screen, selection screen, whatever. We press start. And every time we get to the character selection screen, we got here, I think that Noob Saibot, we try to change our character here, and it freezes automatically. Let me show you why. Hopefully the sound thing, as I drop my controller, hopefully the sound thing isn't indicative of a deeper problem. We'll figure that out shortly. So we'll turn our game off. Let's set this up underneath the microscope. We're going to take a look at a couple of things. So we've got our cart here, and there's no broken traces. The pins overall look quite good. Nothing of note. Now, I think a lot of people would just assume that this is a chip issue. You never know, it might be partially. We'll see. All right, no overbearing issues to take note of. No rust, no corrosion, no broken traces yet. So when I see carts like this, and thank goodness, most people don't know this because I can get a lot of decent stuff for pretty cheap. We're gonna zoom in as far as we can zoom in while still getting a relatively clear picture. So this is my go-to. Anytime I see a cart that looks perfectly fine, doesn't look like there's any issues anywhere, the one default thing that I go to is this pin right here. I don't know why. This one is always loose. So you can see that moving. That pad is completely detached from the board here at the top area. Can I zoom in anymore? Yep, I can zoom in some more. Let's take a closer look. Let's go full blast and get the hopefully clearest possible picture there. So you can pretty easily see that there's disconnected. Now this is the only one that I've noticed so far. I'm going to go through all these, but right now I just want to go ahead and fix that. And that's incredibly easy to do. And you can make it really nice looking without, you know, being overly obvious that some work was done. But I'll take my little grindy tool here. Don't have the thinnest tip on there right now, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this. Setting 2 of 3. We'll grind a little bit of this away. Not too much. Easy as pie, baby. Turn that light up just a little bit. This light is fucking terrible. It either wants to be at full power or no power at all. Otherwise it flickers. And it's really, really distracting in these videos. So we're at full power now as it just fly by. You can probably get away. And I say probably, I'm not going to try to do it, but you can probably get away with just bridging that gap a little bit, but I'm sure it would probably crack it sometime once again down the line. So I'm not going to try that. And I should actually put some flux on there too. Turn on my, I don't want to call it a fume extractor, it's just a fan, basically. Turn that on and grab my little wire here. And just burn away a little bit of that enamel. So I'm just going to grab my little bit of wire here and I'm going to burn off some of that enamel. I know you can't necessarily see what I'm doing here, but you get the idea, right? Easy stuff. And I can see it coming off. I don't need much. My desk is about as messy as ever because I've got way too much stuff going on. I'm waiting on some donor cards to show up, some stuff I started working on. I can't finish until those things get here, which might be a good week or so from now. So I'll just make do. Let me go ahead and move the clamp a little higher up so I have more room to work. Now we got space to do our little bit of surgery here. And this will be easy as pie, baby. Super easy stuff to do. Of course, having the right equipment is always incredibly helpful. So I'm going to bring that back down just a little bit because I don't want it to protrude too much. The wire, that is. Oh, I'm not doing well at all with my shaky hands right now. Starting to feel like this is a young man's game, not an old man's game. So that should be about the length that I want. We'll just leave it right there for now. My technique is awful at the moment. I'll be the first to tell you, all right, that looks okay. So make sure that this wire is fully embedded. Go ahead and, I guess the easiest way to do this is just to bend that up and shake it out a little bit until it breaks. And then we'll clean up that line just a little. Because that looks fucking awful. Get a little more solder on my tip. Probably overdoing it just a little bit, but that's alright. And then, of course, I fucked that up. God damn it. Come on, wire. Agree with me today. This is awful. It's not usually this difficult. What in the world? Take 2 seconds. You know what? Good enough, I think. No, it's not actually. Get a little bit more flux on there. I think I didn't expose quite enough of that wire or that track on the upper side. Now you completely fucked this up and the pad is completely detached, which I should have known was going to happen and I should have prepared myself for. So, god damn it. That's a bad idea because that's not going to come off until I clean that up. All right, take 2. This is terrible. Just awful. You're fired. Now that I screwed that up after telling you how easy it is, let's do it the right way. And I should have known that was going to happen because that pad was pretty weak as it was, and dicking around with it like I was is not doing the cart any favors. So now let's try this again the right way, how I should have done it the first time. So we're going to expose, let's get that wire out of there because that's just going to annoy me now. It's still in there, I can't tell. All right, we're fine. All right, let's expose some copper on both sides now. That's fine on the top. That should be fine there now, I think. Not the greatest amount of space to work with, but that should do. Reapply some flux. Shit, let's add as much as we want. The more the merrier. So I don't need to add new solder. Actually, let's do this. This may even be better. Let's just get off what we have already. Just put new solder on there so we can actually see what we're doing. That looks pretty good. Get a pretty good look at what's going on there as well. Or are you blinded by the glare? I'm going to add flux or solder and try to get it just on the points. Actually, I can do a much better job of exposing copper there as well. Burn some of that off. That looks okay. We'll add our solder to the endpoints for now. Come on, tip. Now I'm going to try to anchor this on one end, anchor it on the other. Slight variation in the technique here. Same concept. And hopefully my shaky ass hands will actually allow me to do this time without screwing it up. All right. Anchor that one side. And sometimes, and I guess I might as well just do it now since I always talk about it and don't actually do it. I will wrap the wire around the pin to give it some additional strength. And actually that'll help me work with it too while I'm trying to position it on the board here. I'm not going to worry about that pin off to the side. I'll clean that up later. My concern is, like I said, just getting this thing anchored on. I'm using probably a tip that's a little bit too big, and maybe the curved tip. I always say that's not the best for the job that I'm doing at the time, but I'm using it anyway because I like it. I enjoy it. It's fairly versatile, but sometimes certain jobs require different tips. All right. So we are good to go. We're set, right? We'll try not to touch the wire with the iron as much as possible on the two ends and just get this thing locked in. That should be good right there. So now, add just a little bit more solder here. And I'll clean that up using my tweezer. Same dealie here. Try to give it a little bit more strength on that side. Should be good to go now. Look how simple that was that time. When you don't screw it up. And I'll tell you, it doesn't look quite as nice as what I wanted to do in the beginning, but that's all right. As long as the shit works, we're good to go. And it's not terribly bad. Clean this up. Obviously don't need that much solder there. That should be fine there. All right, I think we're just fine. Clean that with a Q-tip real quick. Some alcohol. Probably give this an ultrasonic cleaning just to get all that rest of that stickiness up. Now, real quick, I think maybe we zoom in just a little more. Hopefully that's not fucking blurry for you all. Looks okay on this end, so let's go through and check the rest of these pins. Make sure there's nothing else that's loose. So this may give you a slightly better idea of what we're looking at here. Let's move the light so we can see. Let's clean that up. Get a little bit more of that up there. But it doesn't look too terribly bad. Noticeable, sure, but not bad. All right, so let's pop this in the old Nintendo 64. All right. The game is set up in the console. We're going to cut it on. That's what we do in the streets. We cut stuff on. We don't turn it on. We cut it on. All right. Enough of that nonsense. And we've got sound. That's fucking outstanding already. Turn off that fan. Sorry. I don't have a tripod set up for this kind of nonsense. I'm just doing it by hand. Make a joke there if you want to. All right. So, good to go. Sure. I think we can agree that this is already way better than what we had when we started. So, I will call that working. I'll continue testing later, but basically I think we're good there. That one broken trace, that one small little thing, so hard to see without a microscope, but that one little thing kept this from performing as it should. As of the 21st of March 2024, this game is worth approximately $24. I paid $17.13 for it shipped with taxes and whatnot. So I don't recommend people buy stuff at $17 to sell it for $23. That is way too much risk for a $6 profit. So it's just a hobby for me. That's the reason why I do it. It's fun. And later on, I'm probably not going to sell it right away. When it comes to the games, I tend to hold on to these. I got a stack of stuff right here that I need to finish processing and putting away. Kind of gotten away from buying consoles recently just because I have that bad habit where I buy stuff and I don't get to sell it for quite some time. So it sits around and the consoles take up quite a bit of space. The cartridges do not, which is why you'll notice me doing a whole lot of cartridge repairs these days. I just don't want to put the money into consoles. Though, as we slide on over here, I did get a very snazzy early release Famicom for about 80 bucks boxed, and it's got the square buttons. I have a ton of these normal ones with the circular buttons, but these are much harder to find, and it is so nice looking, so clean. Supposedly not working, as in like it has like a fuzzy picture, but I really don't care. I'm sure I can fix that. Don't really care. It may be due to this fucking shitty ass RF unit. I don't know. I haven't tested it yet, but getting away from doing this is for the collection, not for resale. But getting away from buying consoles, like I said, it just takes up way too much space. I would show you the hoard, but it's kind of a mess right now, and I really need to get that area cleaned up. Not trying to show any of that stuff off. Anyway, rambling at this point. So another cartridge saved. So this one, eventually, whenever I do another show, whether that be, probably won't be a Seattle Retro Gaming episode. It'll probably be a couple years down the line. Wherever my next duty station is, that's where I will more than likely have time to actually sell shit like this. But yeah, right now, I'm just buying, and fixing, baby. So even though I'm making you guys my competition, I think by showing you the techniques, the ancient techniques, you know what I'm saying? You guys are probably buying the stuff up on eBay too and trying to make a little money, have a little fun, which is great. Do it if you can get it cheap. Like I said, I would just not recommend, and I see that a lot of people tend to do this, is they'll buy stuff broken at a high price, and a lot of times the stuff really isn't fixable, or you do the dumb like I kind of did on the last lot, where I had that what was it, Lufia, Tecmo 7-star, stuff like that, where the margins will be fairly thin as it is, even if I get most of it working. Then when I got to go out and source a donor cart that I don't have, the cost starts to add up, and then it becomes a little bit ridiculous. With the N64 stuff, I have tons. I would pull this camera, but it's tethered to the computer. I would show you my hoard, but I have tons of Japanese donor carts. I'm talking about hundreds. So when it comes to N64 stuff, there's no fear in buying that. Super Nintendo stuff, not so much, because I didn't really buy a lot of donor carts, the cheap $1 games over there. I didn't have the foresight to do that, but N64 stuff was hot at the time, so that's what I was buying up. And it's kind of cooled down a little bit, but still able to make a little bit of dough off it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed my nonsensical ramblings. I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out.